Good morning. How is everyone this morning? We're a couple minutes early, so I am just going to chat with you. This is Amy from Seriously Sweet on Davis Street. I am in a little historic town of Culpeper, Virginia at the foothills of the Blue Ridge Mountains. And it is a beautiful sunny Sunday morning here. So I thought I would just get on 2 minutes early just so that we would not get set back by technology. I did jump on earlier for those of you that were up with me. I jumped on earlier and did a totally separate video. Hey Allison, how are you doing this morning? So that I could test to make sure that all of the things that we tried this morning. Hey Mary, hi Robin. That all the things we tested this morning would technology would work in our favor today. So we've tweaked everything we could tweak, and I have to give a shout out to my cable provider who spent an hour on the phone with me this morning. I don't think we changed a thing, but they've told me everything is okay so that I could come on with confidence this morning. So we'll see. Hi guys. Oh, it's so good to see all of you. So we're going to let everybody travel back. Miss Nancy will be sharing the video right at 10, I believe. So as soon as I hear from her, we'll start in with the actual tutorial, okay? I am going to leave that video, the first video from yesterday up because I rewatched it last night and the first part of it does have a lot of detail in it. So there's a few things I may go a bit faster on this morning because you can watch it in that other video. And then also know that I'll be sharing another video into my unit or guide. I guess it's guide. Hi, Teresa. I'll be sharing the video that I just did a few minutes ago that was our test run because you get a bonus in there since you came on so early with me. It's got how to make the edible moss. Hey, Leah, how you doing? How to make edible moss. How to make spring soil in case you want to do potted plants on your cookies so you have that nice soil texture, and also a reference where you can pick up a video on my Facebook page for how to make either 4 or 5 different kinds of beach sand and the things you can combine. So look, I'm ready to roll, you guys. I'm a tea drinker. So I've got my vanilla chai latte tea in here. Baker's gonna bake. So we can kick this morning off well. And let's see, it's 10 o'clock. Hopefully that number will start going up. I'm expecting to hear from Nancy that it's shared. So as soon as we see that. Hey, Elisa, thank you so much, you guys, for coming back. And so early because not only is it 10 a.m. Eastern time, but hey, thank you. All right, we're going to get rolling, Nancy. Thanks so much. I know it's early because we all had daylight savings time, but how fun. So let's get rolling. We're going to make this beautiful 2-story gnome home. And Nancy, you can totally rename my unit if you want because I like the sound of gnome home so much. So we're going to be making this beautiful cookie today. There is another video that will be shared into my unit that will explain to you how to make edible grass. I just went through that this morning in a test run. Hey, you guys. Hey, Maria. Thank you for joining me here in Culpeper. And you 7 a.m. people and earlier, I love you. Thank you so much. Your support is great. So there's another separate video to show you how to make this. And as a bonus for joining me so early this morning, I also gave you a quick rundown on how to make something that looks like potting soil. So it's got, you know, the little nonpareils to make seed fertilizer packets in it. There's also a reference for how to find that video for making beach sand. So let's jump in on our gnome house. The cookie cutters are by Dots and Bows. Katrina and Carrie helped me out with these. You can get the gnome houses in 2 sizes. If you're in the extended access group, there's a coupon code for you guys that they generously provided. It's sized currently for you to be able to make it in a 6-inch house or a 4-inch house. You buy these, each cutter for each set is separate, so these are all 4 separate cutters. But here's what's so cool. If you get all the cutters, then you have 2 sizes of mushrooms to make peripheral cookies, either way you go, whichever house you're using. If you don't want to buy the extra cutters and you just want to get 1 cutter to make this, either of these is going to be good, and you can do it as a single level, but I was trying to give you something that would be really cool on like your spring and Easter table settings where you could stand the cookie up. Just showing you something different you can do with cookies to give you a little more variety. But these are on a special section, and if Carrie and Katrina pop on here, they'll drop the link in. If not, the link is in the video from last night. If you get a cutter in, and it's not exactly the size you want, just trace that cutter, take a picture with your phone, upsize it, and then print it. You can make an even larger cookie, and the pin blade information is on your supply sheet in case you want to hand cut some from frozen dough, okay? So let's see. We talked about how to mark these cookies last night, but I'm going to run you through that really quickly. If you'd like it slower, it's in the video from last night before we crashed. So we talked about a couple of things. I wanted to make my house where it would stand up. Hey, Sherry. Hey, guys. Thank y'all for coming back. So I held my cookie in place, so that where it would stand if it was on its own. Plus, we're going to be adding that cute half log or half stump to the front, which gives it more support. So I've figured out where that is. I've got a firm grip. Thank you, Nancy, for dropping the cutters in. And I'm going to mark it. I'm going to take my edible ink marker and I'm going to mark around my upper level or my lower level toadstool to see where that's going to go back on my cookie. Now, while we were here, we went ahead and did just a freehand circle. This is what's so great. You don't need anything to trace this because this is supposed to be a woodland gnome home. So it's supposed to look rustic. It's not supposed to look perfect. Please don't worry about making all of these things perfect. Bark is natural. It's rough. You know, none of this house has to be exactly smooth, exactly perfect. That's why it's so great for beginners who want to jump in. It's going to look like a beautiful cookie from beginner to advanced. However complicated or simple you want to make it, this is for you. So we've traced the spot where we're going to put our little mushroom, which is the bottom story of our house. Hey, you guys, thank you for coming back this morning. Then what we did was we traced where we're going to have our window. Then visually, we came up here and we found the breaking points at the top of our cookie and we sketched where we want that part of the mushroom. We sketched where we want to break off the chimney. Then remember what I said was we would sketch roughly our real rustic, we're going to make a real rustic gnome door for the little gnomes and fairies to go in and out, right? So we sketched this gnome door. Then we laid a piece of parchment on top of it. And this is Zenloji parchment. And I'm just using my edible ink printer because I'm going to pipe right on top of this. So I don't want to use, please don't do this. It is not food safe. Do not use, oh, I don't even know where it's gotten off to. But you know the permanent ink markers that are permanent ink markers just for paper? Do not be tempted to use that on this parchment. The purpose of this is that you're going to pipe right on top of it. So you need to do your tracing. And on your cookie where your door is going to sit, you do your tracing with an edible ink marker because that ink is going to end up in your icing, right? So I've traced this. Then what I did was I took that, I made 2 sketches and I did 2 royal icing transfers and I made these 2 cute rustic doors using a wood grain. Hi guys, thank you for coming back this morning. So I just made 2. I always make 2 because something might break and I just don't trust those things. So I'll use one on another cookie. But you see how rough I made that? It's really rough. And then I went back with a brown and a black marker and just filled in some of the details. But it's very woodsy looking. Can you see that? Because it should look like bark. So we were getting it as rough as we could. Colors are all on the supply list. So now my little door is going to fit perfectly when we put the cookie together. So what I really want to spend the time with you on today, now you've seen how to sketch the cookie. I've told you how to resize it so you can make it work for you. This is a great project to do for little kids because little kids are enamored with fairies. And we should be normal now, Jeremy, because it's a National Cookie A Thon. We'll save our craziness for 1 o'clock. I do this cool thing on Tuesdays at 1 o'clock called Cookie Therapy with Marlon of Montreal Confections. And if you guys want to get a little wild and crazy, you can certainly join me and Mar on Tuesdays at 1 for Cookie Therapy. We have so much fun. But let's save all of our maybe over the top comments for Tuesday and we'll discuss everything. Thank you. I'm so glad you are here this morning. Jeremy's one of our lively participants. All right, so what we want to discuss today is I want to talk to you a little bit I want to talk a little bit about brush embroidery. And I said yesterday, hey, yes, you do too, Bev. I said yesterday that this is probably, like a subcategory of brush embroidery because it's not actual to look like embroidery, which is what brush embroidery is meant to mimic, right? So I've just trimmed the bag. I'm going to assume, Hopefully that's okay, that you guys have basic bag trimming knowledge, but literally if you're new and you're on here and you don't, if you will come watch me on my live streams on Tuesday with Marlon, we will go over how to trim a bag. I just don't want to spend any time right now on that. All right. So look, do you see how I'm kind of going in my mind? I'm seeing how I want the flow of this undercarriage part of this to look. So I'm actually using a toothpaste consistency icing here, and I'm already making my design a little bit. Now, I like really sculpted cookies. I'm not sure why. I really don't, except I really like doing sculpted fondant, and I like taking a few classes from Timbo here and there because it just revs up your skills a little bit. Hey, Marlon, I'm sorry, but I just told him to save all of the witty banter and the crazy for Tuesdays, okay? So can you guys see this paintbrush? This is from the Wilton set that I listed in my supply list. All right, so there we go. Now, I was practicing with it earlier because I wanted to make sure I had everything still ready for you. You know, you're all prepared when you first start a broadcast, and then when something happens, sometimes things slip off, right? I'm not normal any day of the week, so anytime you guys want to spend time with me, please come spend time with me. And you know what's really great is I particularly like doing cookies, showing you how to do techniques from a beginner to an advanced. So very excited to just share the art of cooking. Let's see if we can get that to focus a little better. Are we still good on sound, and are we still good? We're not buffering and all that, right? Okay, so what I did was I completely wet my brush. This is important. You can use a different brush to do this. You can use a brush like this. If this is what you have, go with this. Just turn it on its side. But it is kind of important that the brush be stiff and not flimsy, not, you know, feathery flimsy like these little guys, okay? By the way, did you see all of that gold dust that just shot out of there? All right, so here we go. All right, totally wet, and then re-wet it and just dampen it just slightly. And I'm gonna pull in the direction that I want my lines to go. But that talking that I was just doing was on purpose to give it a moment to let it just get a slight crust. You don't want to reintroduce a lot of water because I want the dimension. So what I'm doing here is just starting to pull lines with this stiff brush. And I'm pulling them to the center because that's really what I want the undertone of my, the direction of my toadstool underneath portion. If anybody's on here that knows what this is technically called, I Googled this again last night and I still can't find what it's supposed to be. But I think that you know that what the underside looks like on mushrooms, how they're rough. Now that extra you gather, just pull that off, put it right into your paper towel. And now I would go back one more time. You see, I'm not dipping my brush every single time because I'm using a toothpaste consistency icing and just a damp brush, because what I don't want to have happen is all of this to start collecting on my brush. So you see how pretty that is, and you see how I literally am almost sculpting this because I'm using a toothpaste consistency icing. Can you guys see that? So you have to play with this, and my suggestion is to play on a cookie that's not the cookie you're actually decorating. Even one of those Nata cookies, which is one of the sponsors, those are great to practice this on. If you don't have that, practice on parchment paper, just something where it will adhere, but you can actually sit there and play with this for, 30 seconds to a minute, let it crust, and then go back. Now, I want you to see something. I did this on purpose because I want you to see it. Do you see on this side how it's smoother, more rounded looking? This is where I introduced more of the water, okay? And then this part is where I didn't introduce any water. I went total dry brush. So you see how that's a little bit rougher? Now, because if you watch me at all, you know that I love sparkle. This is why that is important. This diamond dust, which is one of my favorite products on the planet, okay? I'm going to do it in my hand so you can actually see it. It actually shows up better on rougher surface. So I actually like to make that under part really rough. Do you see how much more sparkle you're getting there? I love it. So that's how you do your embroidery. You're going to need to play with that for a little bit. Now we're going to pop on to a cookie so that we can keep moving. It's 12 after, so we've got plenty of time this morning. I'm probably talking faster, but I don't want to risk not finishing or crashing. So we're just going to keep going. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for coming on so early this morning. So what I did was, I do want to show you this. Let's take the time to do this because it's important. Windows. I really like these cool windows. So what I did to accomplish this window, I just piped icing. Look, this is like not super fancy at all. I have a paper towel off to the side. Let's hope I don't run out of those because I didn't restock them this morning. Everything is better with edible glitter and sugar. I'm with you. And candy. If I can work in candy at all, I'm working in candy. So no comments from my peanut gallery from Tuesday though, okay? You guys know. We love this though. So look, I just did this. I wanted it to, it's supposed to be rustic, and I wanted to have my glass have a reflection. So what I did was I just used that toothpaste consistency white icing. This is the best thing because you won't really be able to tell on the cookie that I showed you earlier or that I photographed, but in person you can tell it really shows up. So I immediately went back with my white diamond dust because I wanted my window to have a reflective look. So I just good squirt on there. So you see that? Okay. I also, when I did the under part of the mushrooms here, I hit them with diamond dust this time. I didn't do that the first time, but when I went back and looked at it, I thought I don't have enough sparkle, so I added some more. You can do that too. That's the prerogative, right? All right, so up here is where we used our edible moss, and we've talked about that and why I used the particular cookie. There's nothing wrong with using other products to make your edible moss. For me, just because of the volume we do, it involves more labeling and things of that nature, and so I just try to keep that kind of stuff to a minimum because that's the thing when I first started into the cookie environment that really held me back was just all of the paperwork behind the things you're creating, right? It's great to make cookies, be super creative, come up with these great designs, but then when you literally have to go back and create the packaging for these things, that becomes a bit of a nightmare. So I've learned a few tricks to simplify that. That's why I do those things. This is the edible moss that I made yesterday. It's got a light green royal icing under it, and the moss is on it. I did that first because I did not want this to go all over my cookie. Now, guys, we're going to jump in. Oh, also, sorry, I totally forgot to say this at the beginning, and I don't want to run out of time at the end. Nancy, thank you so much to you and your team for making this event so fabulous. I love Cookie A Thon. I hope that it doesn't wear you out because I want you to do them for years and years. Also wanted to give a shout out of thanks to Jenny from Creative Cookie, who sent me all of those great products she was my sponsor for this event. Sent me a lot of great products to try. This is one of her items. This is one of my favorite scribes. I love this thing. I talk about it all the time in my videos. All kinds of great colors. There's an unboxing video. Please go watch that. Watch that. There's a lot of great info in there. Some of the gels are sold out. They're not discontinued. They're just sold out. They are waiting on they're waiting on bottles to come back in, and then they'll refill. Now, Tammy, on these pumps, I don't know what causes them to get clogged. I've never had one clogged, and I have about 20 different things of these, okay? Seeing a question from Melanie. This is just attached with the toothpaste consistency royal icing, and it's back on the cookie, okay? So now what we're going to do, guys, is we're going to jump right on, and we're going to go ahead and do the top of our mushroom houses. I want to do that first. I think probably that clogging issue, guys, I'm not positive, but I bet part of that clogging has to do with humidity. So I suspect that it's super important to tap it, shake it, all of that. And to make sure you keep the cap on it, right? But you could call the company and ask them. I'm sure there's tips or tricks. I just haven't had the problem, so I haven't had to investigate it before. All right, now, guys, I do really like cookie turntables. I'm going to use this today just so that I can do this from a couple directions. I know you're going to ask me, but I don't remember where this one came from, but I love it because it's pink and sparkly. So that's sort of the thing, right? It's the Amy thing anyway. All right, so I'm just going to get a little bit. Please remember, this cookie is so forgiving. Do you see what I'm doing? I'm not even doing outline and flood here in these little areas because I want it to look rough because it's a mushroom, and mushrooms are textured. So I am using probably a 20-second outline flood icing here, And I'm just going over the rim where I created that nice texture. This is so much less stressful today, thank God. When we died last night on the computer screen, I really was having a moment. And let's see. So can you see what I'm doing there and how it's going to settle down a little? But honestly, the rougher it is, the better it looks. All right, now I'm going to show you another trick. If you want to do a whole bunch of these really fast and you don't want to work in stages, you can really cut this back by prepping things ahead of time. If you watch us on Tuesdays, you know that I am a big Royal Icing transfer fan. I like to have things prepped and organized because I'm not just doing cookies in my boutique bakery. We are doing cupcakes, we're doing custom cakes, we're doing custom cookies. So everything has to be scheduled. It has to be done ahead of time. I'm always looking for ways to make it go as fast as possible. So if you're wondering why I attached this cookie ahead of time, it's because I want to flood right up to the cookie because I want a little bit of extra cookie to come on this lower oh, thank you for dropping these links in, you guys. Thank you. I appreciate it so much. I want to be able to ice right down to the top of that cookie. It's going to adhere the cookies together better so that they won't break off with ease. And also, I'll be able to get, because I want to put a little edible moss there, okay? Now, ahead of time, just on Zenlogi, I learned how to pronounce it last night just for y'all. I always try to make it with an extra O in it, so maybe they should just change the name. I don't know. But anyway, the Zenlogi parchment, I made some of these dots ahead of time. And let's see. So I want to just pop a few of these on here. That way I don't have to wait for this to dry. I can keep moving. So it's not, for me, it's not just for the purposes of this tutorial. It's because I need things to move fast so that I can get more done. All right, so I'm just going to put a couple dots in here. Good to go there. Let's see, I need to grab a paper towel real quick. We don't want to get pink everywhere. It is my fave, but I don't think I want to put it in every portion. Now watch again, because really, this is so fast. It does not have to be hard. Beginners, try this one. I'm telling you, it's very forgiving. We just really want you to get started cooking. There, you will find not only a great tribe of friends in the cookie realm, but you're going to get so much artistic expression. You won't even know what to do with yourself when this actually bites you. And it does bite you. And I'm definitely an enabler. So when you want to know where to get the cool tools and the fun projects. Oh yeah, you guys, while I'm icing, if you feel like joining me this Tuesday, we're doing something really fun. We're going to do 1 o'clock. You can come to the store page. At 1 o'clock on Tuesdays, we do cookie therapy. So Marlon is doing all kinds of stuff from AliExpress, like gadgets and stuff, and I'm doing all the scores that beginner cookiers can use from the Dollar Tree. So you should definitely come join us for that, because it's going to be a hoot and a holler, okay? I promise you, you're going to have some fun. So again, I'm dropping in my little bits. I hope you guys like this cookie. I love spring cookies, so this was really fun to do. All right, now I have a bag of stiffer than toothpaste consistency chocolate brown. What's it called? It's called Rich Brown, that I use the gel coloring. So remember I was telling you in the unboxing video about the colors, how it's hard to get a good brown? I like this. This is 3 or 4 days developed, but look at that color. Isn't that amazing? All right, so we're gonna quickly go do a super rough window outline. I want it to look like bark. So yes, I'm doing this on purpose. I don't want a nice, totally finished. I want it to look rough. That's why it's thicker than toothpaste, so that I can just do this cool, look, I'm just bouncing up and down, but you see, because my icing is so thick, it's holding that nice shape. And I love that because it's giving me dimension to the back of the cookie. Right? There's my cool window. If you want to, you can go back in and put a window pane. So just cleaning the tip of your bag. And we've got about 6 minutes. I think we'll finish right on time. If you want to, you can go back and put a window pane in here. Okay. so that it translates visually to what it's supposed to be. I think you look at this and you know it's a window, and then of course you have that cool diamond dust in there. So I'm just pop that up a little bit. Look, isn't that great? All right, now let's grab our green and get rolling with the green. Let's see, we're gonna use flood green for this. So excited for everything that's gonna happen today during Cookie-a-thon. There is so much cool stuff coming. All right, so we are just gonna flood. Now watch, I'm gonna show you as best I can without blocking. I'm putting a lot of icing in there. This is just regular flood icing, but I'm shooting it up into where the two cookies meet, into that crack, so that it's kind of acting like a caulking so that this will not come off this cookie, okay? Now, we're gonna have to move fast through this part. I'm gonna flood. I know there's a bunch of you watching that are like, oh my God, I can't stand that because it's so haphazard. This is not how I do my pretty delicate wedding cookies. I do the nice outline, the flood, everything smooth. Please try to remember this is a woodland gnome home, so all of this is to actually get me a little bit of design and texture on my cookie. I did this cookie specifically for you guys because I really wanted new cookiers to feel like they could jump in the game and they weren't behind. The joy of cookieing is just so much fun. It's so much fun. You meet so many great people. The cookie club is fantastic. There's so many things out there for you guys. Don't be intimidated by it. Honestly, if you can bake a batch of sugar cookies and slap some icing on them, you just started. And you will probably be with us until the end of your lifetime because you're going to love it as much as all of us do. All right, so let's get some green on here. While this is wet, because we prepped ahead of time, I'm leaving a little cookie showing because I like for it to read that it's a cookie. That's why my stem is not all the way to the edge, but you do whatever you want to do. We're going to use our little door. Let's use the smaller door. I like this little guy. He has a knot in the middle. He's real cute. So we're going to pop our little door on here and let him settle into that green icing. Isn't that sweet? So look, you could stop right here if you wanted to. But I'm just going to show you how to quickly pop a few of the fondant pieces on because we have a couple minutes left. I went ahead and prepped these last night. So I made these cute little flower pots, and I think I'll come back on, not today because I don't want anybody to be distracted from Cookie-a-thon, but tomorrow I'll do a little video just focusing on the fondant and give it to Nancy to put it in there because I want you guys to get used to sculpting too. Maybe you were a Play-Doh kid and you really like sculpting, and I want you to feel like you can see what you can do with that in Cookie Land. Cookie Land is very versatile. Oh, also I made this cool light out of that mat. You see the light? I just ordered that whole fondant mat just to get this top because I'm going to pop this on right here next to my door, and then once this is all dry, I'll paint that little light with TMP gold, and I'll put a little gold here and here for hinges because, you know, what's a cookie without some shiny gold too? So guys, that is the basic gist of our cookie. Your fern mat was to make these awesome little leaves so that you could make a flower bed. You absolutely could skip the mats and hand pipe this. I like to do the combination of the two. I like to have the fondant bits or the white chocolate bits, and then also go back and I would be piping in royal icing a stem and little leaves on there, okay? So lots of great tricks for today. We're gonna have some gold on here. We've got some diamond dust. I did not put candy on the cookie. I kept it more purist today. But anyway, let's see. I'm at 10:26. Let's put the stump on here. So what I did on my stumps was I used the mold and I made a half stump. I used my X-Acto knife when it was dry. And what I'll be doing with these is I'll be adhering it so it comes slightly off the cookie here. And I'll be adhering another one on the back like a foot so that it will stand up. So you'll have this on the back of the cookie, this on the front, then 2 levels of cookie, and that's going to help stabilize it so you can stand it up, okay? All right, so thank you so much again, Nancy. I appreciate you guys so much and your wonderful team for Cookie-a-thon. Jenny of Creative Cookier, thank you for being our sponsor for this event. And if you want to see me, I do have a nice companion piece to this called Bella Fairy. We're doing a live class next Sunday afternoon. And there's a coupon code on there for her, but this is my Bella Fairy. She's a companion piece to go with the Gnome Home. If you want to join in on that class is for sale on my website. My website is seriouslysweetcupcakes.com. And then if you want to see me live streaming, Marlon is so fantastic. I've been a guest on her show and haven't left, so I hope that that is okay with her. But I have been a guest on there for maybe 8 weeks now, and she's fabulous. I have the best time with her. It's 1 o'clock on Tuesdays. You can watch me on my store page, Seriously Sweet on Davis Street. And please feel free to ask questions, leave any comments over there. If you watch the tutorial later, I'll go back for like a month to the actual group, the extended access group. I go in there every day for like a month and check that. If you post a comment and I don't see it, just pop over and send me a message through my store page after that month is up, okay? Or anytime. I don't really care where you message me from. Just know that I only check that group until about 30 days. I set a reminder on my phone and I check that every morning. Thank you to everyone. I know it was difficult this morning, especially with daylight savings time, that you guys are real troopers, because really it's only like 9:30 in the morning here and 8:30 for some of you, and my friends on the west coast, west side of Canada, it's even earlier. I love you guys. Thank you for joining us. I hope you enjoyed Cookie-a-thon today, and I'll definitely be visiting with you in the comments throughout the day, because I have my day reserved for this, except for the time I have to be the tech person at church this morning, okay? Thanks so much. We'll see you soon. Bye. Have a sweet day.